All
But
right.
okay, so I mean, okay, so we're gonna get into like the hermeneutic phenomenological vector and like the transcendental destruction of like metaphysics. So, well, Heidegger. Oh, okay. Well, Heidegger's like methodological foundation being in time. It's just like kind of like re-articulates the classical like Husserlian dictum, or well, to the things themselves, which is gonna be well, Zudenstension, Selbisset, right? It's
Mhm.
a radical fusion of like phenomenology and like hermeneutics. So phenomenology would just be really defined not by its like object matter, by some sort of methodological concept, which is well, it's like in a different language. So I'm just gonna like try to type it to the best of my ability, but it just means simply to let that which shows itself be seen from itself in that very way it shows in itself, right?
Yeah. So my knowledge, as far as my knowledge goes within Heidegger's, all I know is that the central ideas and stuff like that would be like would be beings are particular things that exist, like trees or people. And being is what means for those things to exist at all. Like a chair, it would be considered a being. The fact that the chair is the nature of its existence is a question about being. Um, and yeah.
Yeah, basically. Hold up, I wrote it down. Um, well, hold on, let me send this down. Okay. So this is how you would say in well the language Heidegger was basically asserting, but it just means to let that which shows itself be seen from itself in the very way in which it shows itself, right? And because being sane is just uniquely that which conceals itself beneath the immediate appearance of all entities, which is going to be sayende, or well, I say saying, but you can say siende.
Uh-huh.
And it's basically like phenomenology just must become romantic in like a dynamic interpretation of well, Dasein's pure ontological understanding. Let me type Dasein down too, just for clarification. Y'all can search these words up if y'all don't know the meaning, but it's like a pre-ontological understanding. And well, to execute this, like fundamental ontology just engages in like the destruction of like the history of ontology. And well, this destruction wouldn't really be some sort of nihilistic dismantling of all past philosophy, but it's some sort of like critical kind of de-sedimentation of like traditional concepts from Aristotle's like ousia to Socrates' substantia, and it's like to uncover all the original experimental horizons, which he pronounces it as it's like Erfa something, and from which those ontological categories were abstracted, right? Oh, I
Mhm.
mean abstracted,
What
and
the
then we can wait, what?
bro? Like, the fuck is this nigga saying?
Yeah, it's like hard to understand, but I mean,
Wait,
um,
okay, wait, is this what it means to let that which shows itself be seen from itself in the very way in which
let me see.
it shows itself from itself?
Oh, sure.
Put it down and let me see. Okay, to let that what shows itself be seen itself in the very way in it. Okay, sort of. It's to let that which shows itself be seen from itself in the very way it which it shows itself.
Okay, so what does that mean?
Hold on, I'm gonna
What
type
does
it
Heidegger
down.
mean when he says that?
It's to let that which shows itself be seen from itself in the very way in which it shows itself.
Okay, so what would
Yeah.
Heidegger mean? What does Heidegger mean when he says that?
Oh, it's just because well, I already went over it, but I'll repeat it. So it's like because
I'm
being
sorry.
like saying, it's all good. But it's because like being, which is saying, as I said before, like saying it's just uniquely that which conceals itself beneath the immediate appearance of entities, which is sayende. And in phenomenology, it must become more hermentic or well a dynamic interpretation of Dasein's pre-ontological understanding. And to basically execute this, fundamental ontology just engages in well the deconstruction of well the history of ontology. And this deconstruction wouldn't really be some sort of nihilistic dismantling of well past philosophy, but it would be some sort of critical desedimentation of well traditional concepts from well Aristotle's Osea to the Socrates Substantia, and basically to uncover well the original experimental horizons, which are going to be our Verhungen, from which those ontological categories were abstracted. We get into well the ecstatic temporal architecture of well Dasein's horizon.
Okay, wait. So it's because being what you're saying. I'm sorry, I didn't pick up on. It's because being what you're saying. Which is what again?
It's uniquely that which conceals itself beneath the immediate appearance of entities, say and
It's
they.
unique. It's uniquely that which conceals itself. Okay, and what else?
And it's the immediate appearance of entities, see and they. It's basically concealing itself beneath the immediate appearances of entities, see and they.
Okay.
And then phenomenology just must be basically become hermentic here. It's like a dynamic interpretation of Dasein's pre-ontological understanding.
Okay. So basically, for Heidegger, being is unique because it is not itself of being. It is not a self of being, which wait, I don't know how to spell this shit out.
Which conceals itself beneath the immediate appearance of
Yeah, yeah,
entities,
yeah,
say
yeah,
and
yeah,
they.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. So for Heidegger, being is unique because it is not itself of being, and it does not immediately given in the way beings are. It would both disclose and withdraw.
Yeah, basically. And here, phenomenology just has to become or must become hermentic because, well, a dynamic interpretation of well, Dasein's pre-ontological understanding, well, to even execute this, like fundamental ontology would engage in like well, the deconstruction of like the history of ontology. And this deconstruction wouldn't really be some sort of nihilistic, well, dismantling of well, past philosophy, but it would be like a critical dementation of all traditional concepts from Aristotle's Osea to the Socratic Substantia to uncover well, the original experimental horizons, which are well are Farungen, right? And from which those ontological categories would be abstracted.
Okay, yeah. So is it saying that wait? So would the reasoning behind that be that being is not directly present like a cherry tree? It would just be partly concealed and would only show itself through beings. So phenomenology cannot describe what it is immediately given. It must interpret in ways to which being is disclosed, right?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
I'm back. Okay, so then we get to the well, the ecstatic temporal architecture of well, Dasein's horizon, and this is simply well the ultimate like formal unification of well care, which is Sorge, right? And it's
Mhm.
grounded in the dynamic nonlinear structure of well
Wait, the form of
ecstatic
what?
temporal. It's grounded in the dynamic nonlinear structure. Oh, are you talking about the ultimate formal unification of care?
Okay, yeah, that's all I needed.
Yeah, that would be Sorge, and it's grounded in the dynamic nonlinear structure of ecstatic temporality, which people, or well, Heidegger just says, or the word for it is Zeitlichkeit. And it's basically like time wouldn't be a homogeneous quantitative sequence of all discrete point instants, which are going to be like T1, T2, T3, and they wouldn't be running along like a spatialized timeline. Rather, like it would just be authentic. Time consists of well, three interconnected or inter penetrating ecstases, right? And it's literally or standing outside oneself, basically. Did y'all get that?
Yeah, I
Yo,
don't think he heard
Akasa.
you, bro.
Yo, Akasa.
Real realism. I think you broke him, bro.
No, he's probably AFK. We're not debating. We're just I'm basically like explaining Heidegger's ontology.
Okay.
Um, yo, Akasa, you there?
He's AFK.
Alright.
Mhm. 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 Yo.
Oh, he actually disconnected. Okay. Um,
I should be good now.
Alright. But yeah, I'll just repeat. So the ecstatic temporal architecture of Dasein's horizon, which I already said, well, like the ultimate formal unification of care, which is Sorge, and it's grounded in the dynamic nonlinear structure of ecstatic temporality, which is going to be Zeitliche, right? And I put in chat too the word how you say it.
Okay.
It's Zeitliche, right? And it's basically, well, time wouldn't really be a homogeneous quantitative sequence of discrete point instants, such as, well, T1, T2, T3, which is like time 1, time 2, time 3, running on like a spatialized timeline. And rather, it would be like some sort of authentic time that consists of, well, 3 interconnected, interpenetrating ecstasises. And it just means, well, it's literally like standing outside oneself, right? And then in like the temporal ecstasis, the future, which is going to be Zukunft, it stands for, well, the in like the ontological dimension of care, it would be like the essentiality or the projection, which is going to be Enturuf, right? And the phenomenological mode of execution just says, well, it anticipates, well, one's ultimate possibility, which is same zum tode, right? And then there's the having been, which is going to be Gewissenheit, and that stands for, well, faticity, or, well, slash throwness, and it's, well, the Geoffenheit, right? And it explicitly is basically just inheriting and repeating one's factic heritage, which is urbe.
Okay, so I looked
And
this up.
then
Is he asking? Okay, so I looked up the ultimate formal unification of care. I was taking notes
Mhm.
on your wording, on what you were writing, what you were saying. I'm sorry. Um, so would he be? Is he just asking? What is the unified structure that makes all of these possible? Would his answer just be care because
Yeah,
that's
that
what
would be Sorge.
yeah. So like that would okay. So would that be telling us the formal existential totality or the formal unification of Dasein? Then it's like
Yeah, it's the temporal architecture of Dasein's horizon. So yes,
yeah. Okay. So
and
I heard there's 3 dimensions of the formula. All I know is that all I know is one, which says ahead of itself because Dasein always projects itself toward possibilities, which will correspond to existentiality. And
yeah,
so like,
that the existentiality would be the future, which is gonna be Zukunft.
yeah,
And then there's the other two.
I know already being in the world, but I don't know what it means. So like, what's the other two?
The other two is having been, which is gonna be Gewissenheit, and that stands for, well, facticity, and throwness, which is gonna be Gewornfornheit, and it stands for, well, explicitly inheriting and repeating one's factic heritage, which is urbe.
So would that be the past or present?
That would be the having been. That the present is the last one, so it's what happened before. That would be the past.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then there's the present, which is going to be Gegenwart, right? And that stands for, well, for fater or falling, right? And it stands for, well, we're fallen sin, and it's the authentic moment of vision, or, well, Augenblink, or inauthentic absorption in equipment, right?
All right. Well, yeah, bro. Nice convo. We can end it off right here because I gotta go get my food and I gotta go out. But like, if you want to, we can continue this.
All right, I'm gonna save it, and I'll just post this one first, so like people can already know it. And there's like a few other things because that's like a little bit of it, but I'm just gonna take that real quick.